Historically in India, rural communities have managed with their own drinking water supply, either through small ponds or open wells, etc. The Government of India entered the rural water supply sector in 1972 by starting the Accelerated Rural Water Supply Program. So this program was to help the states in their efforts to provide rural water supply. Water supply is under the constitution is a state subject. So the Government of India only supplements the efforts of the state governments in providing water supply in rural areas for domestic purposes. The major challenges and issues that are facing the sector now are mainly in terms of first coverage of the remaining habitations that need to be covered. Not all habitations are getting even the minimum of 40 LPCD. According to our figures, about 28% of 16.61 lakh rural habitations, that is about nearly 4.5 lakh rural habitations, are not getting 100% safe and adequate drinking water supply. So the first challenge is to provide adequate and safe water supply to these habitations. The second, this takes care of the issue of quantity of water supply. The second major challenge is in terms of quality of water supply. Quality is impacted both by chemical contamination and bacteriological contamination. And these are major issues that are becoming more and more aggravated because of development, because of population growth, because of pollution and contamination, industrialization in the rural as well as in the semi-urban parts of the country. The third issue regarding service levels is regarding the reliability of water supply. Not all water sources provide continuous water supply throughout the year. So there may be stoppages during the summer season or for a few days, either due to the source drying up or because the system is not maintained well. So this brings in the issue of sustainability. And regarding the fourth issue is regarding convenience. Now drinking water supply can either be at a distance of 1 kilometer or within 500 meters or 200 meters or within the household premises. So our goal would be to provide drinking water supply within the household premises so that women and children who bear the major burden of fetching water are relieved of this burden. So these are in short the major issues and challenges that face the rural drinking water sector in the country now. Initially the focus was on a few problem villages that were identified in the country. Later the scope was expanded to cover habitations, because a particular village may have more than one habitation. Some villages may have 10 or even 15 habitations. Now this was the focus under the Accelerated Rural Water Supply Program. Then there was a movement to involve the community in planning, implementing and managing rural water supply programs through the sector reforms and Swajal Dhara programs. Now under the National Rural Drinking Water Program, all these different strands have been brought together, and this program encompasses all the learnings of the water supply programs that have been taken up since the 70s. In the NRDWP, the focus has gone down to the household level, so that every household in every rural habitation should have enough adequate and safe drinking water supply. Under the NRDWP, there have been a major shift in focus. One shift has been from the habitation level, we now go to the household level, and to ensure that every household in the habitation is provided with adequate and safe water supply. So this is required to take care of unreached households who may be either socially or economically disadvantaged in the habitation. The second aspect is that now flexibility has been given to the states under the NRDWP, so that the state can have its own norm which above the basic norm of 40 liters per capita per day, and depending upon the resources of water and financial resources available to it, they can aim to provide 55 LPCD or 70 or even 100 liters per capita per day. The third focus area in the NRDWP is that we want to shift from excessive dependence on groundwater sources to conjunctive use of groundwater, surface water and roof water harvesting. The reason is, so far 85% of our drinking water sources are dependent on groundwater, but because of over extraction by agriculture, irrigation pump sets and industry, we are finding that drinking water, the water levels in the country have reduced from, in the 70s they would be at around 10 meters to around, now water is available in some places at 150 or even 200, 300 meters. So reduction of dependence on groundwater and moving towards more reliable surface water sources, and also harvesting rainwater so that in times of need and stress it is available as a fallback option, is one of the principles of the NRDW. Drinking water is a public good. It is not a private good, and people have a right to demand their water supply under the NRDWP. And the water that has to be supplied has to be of adequate quantity, and it should be of the adequate quality also, so that it is safe for drinking. The third aspect is that it should be available at the convenience in a distance, in terms of distance and convenient timings for the households. So these are new concepts that have been introduced in the NRDWP. The further new aspects that have been introduced are additional focus on sustainability of the drinking water sources. So sustainability by taking up water recharging measures, water conservation measures is funded to the extent of up to 20% of the NRDWP funds. Contamination of drinking water sources can happen either due to natural factors or due to man-made factors. Among the natural contaminants are arsenic, fluoride, iron, salinity and to some extent nitrate. According to our recent figures, about 1,10,000 habitations have drinking water sources which are contaminated by these chemical contaminations and do not have any safe drinking water supply. In regard to arsenic, which is the most dangerous and the most serious contaminant, the states that are affected, which are mainly in the Gangetic basin and now in the Brahmaputra basin, have gone in for alternate tapping alternate sources of safe water. To a large extent, arsenic affected habitations, the planning has been done, and many habitations have got safe drinking water, and for the remaining habitations, programs are on or they are in the final stages of completion. Fluoride is the next serious contaminant. It is found in the drier belt of the country, mostly in the western parts of the country, starting from Rajasthan and down to Karnataka. Salinity, nitrate are two smaller contaminants in terms of coverage, and these are again covered through provision of safe water through alternate safe sources. The major contaminant in terms of number of habitations is iron. About 80,000 habitations out of 1,10,000 habitations are contaminated with iron. Though iron does not have too deleterious, damaging an impact on health, it is not palatable. It reduces the potability, imparts odor, and reduces the color and gives water unacceptable color. Treating iron is relatively easy and requires less technology or electricity for treatment. This is as far as chemical contamination is concerned. But the more dangerous and more widespread contamination is bacteriological contamination. And this bacteriological contamination is due to man-made factors. These man-made factors are open defecation in rural areas, untreated sewage, leach pits which are close to drinking water sources, uncollected garbage, stagnant wastewater, or uncollected animal wastes. Industrial pollutants which are not treated, which are left out into the open, also contaminate groundwater bodies as well as surface water bodies. Increasingly, due to use of more fertilizers and pesticides for agriculture, bacteriological contamination is the major challenge, which causes diarrhea and dysentery, is a major cause of diarrhea and dysentery in rural areas. And this can be treated with simple chlorination, disinfection with chlorination, or with slow sand filters and other such filters. It is relatively easy, but it requires further more investment. The vision of the NRDWP is to provide every rural household with adequate and safe drinking water supply on a sustainable basis throughout the year and at all times. This should be provided to them with adequate cross subsidization, so that no one is deprived of the basic minimum required for human survival. The other objectives of NRDWP are to revive traditional water sources. Villages in our country have talabs, bawdis, muranis, and these have been traditionally providing the water supply. But with the advent of hand pumps, rural people and the government and departments in charge of water supply have tended to neglect these traditional sources. There is a need to rejuvenate these traditional sources of water and to strengthen them so that they act as supplemental water sources for rural households. In addition, under the NRDWP, there is now a focus on convergence with sanitation, with the health programs. So the village level workers who are working in the ASHA workers